Hey guys, Multimedia 7 here to do a dream catcher message. Been having dreams. As of recent, this particular message, I'll be talking about 3 dreams I've had, which have been coming back up into my subconscious today. My subconscious keeps telling me that it's relevant or maybe something other people need to hear. In the past, I've had 2 particular dreams with the same relevancy. One of them I believe to now be a lucid dream. Part of me that believed when I was young that it was actually real. I've correlated this dream as a child to something my parental figures had told me. When I was younger, my parental figures laughed and told me a joke about an incident that happened. Never really settled well with me. I used to have these dreams about crawling through mazes of clothing from different floors and just going through a whole bunch of just going from room to room and crawling through a whole bunch of piles of clothes. A lot of the dreams had to do with windows, so with portals or an actual window. I've had a dream in childhood where I've also jumped out of a window to escape. According to them, happened in the past, where I was very fascinated with the window, and I would always look through the front window to look outside, see what's going on. But I do remember that there weren't any calendars or clocks anywhere in my home. I used to struggle with knowing what the day was and the time because there weren't any clocks and calendars, so I would never know what day or year it was unless I was using a computer. Honestly, I do very much clearly remember that my parental figures didn't really like taking me to the hospital. But I was told that I was eating the lead paint from the windowsill. And they kind of made a joke about it, which never, like I said, settled right with me. The first dream that I had from early youth, before the age of 8, saw in the dream where, I think I have mentioned it before in my earlier dream catching messages, remember distinctly where my parental figure, male Gemini placement, had me in his arms and he carried me to an emergency room. He went through the doors, the push doors, and he placed me on a table which would look significant to an operating room, which is ironic because an operating room, an emergency room, would look similar to one in the back of a poultry shop. He placed me there, and the position that they put me in, it was 2 doctors in there, 2 male doctors in there that were wearing lab coats and masks, and they had me in a sexual position, face down, buttocks up, and put a thermometer in my butt. Then they went to go discuss amongst themselves. The operating room then turned into another segue where it was coming from my parental figure's bedroom into the kitchen, where I was then on the operating table looking supposedly like the one from the hospital. And another dream I had when I got older, but still in adolescence, I spoke about this previously before in another dream catching message, where I was in a church. Same segue, male parental figure, Gemini placement, had me, carrying me in his arms into the kitchen of the church and placed me this time still in the church building on the table. Same position. I got a message from a prophet within the last year when I asked him about a particular dream I had, I believe I spoke about it on the Dream Catchers, asked him in a live Q&A what it meant to see monkeys in a dream and a jaguar, and something about a vehicle. He just let me know that the vehicle in correlation to the dream was talking about something that having to do with church in the home. The guidance I was given was for me to stop working for other people and work from home. The fruition from my platform of Multimedia 7 American Heritage Society has commenced. Another confirmation as I'm doing something I'm supposed to be doing. In my book, which you can purchase on Barnes & Noble's, Tears by Dr. Justice, I talk about a particular time where my parental figure, Gemini placement, father, had took me and my sibling overseas to go visit our home country, and where he sacrificed a goat. Another interesting dream that I had, but it was when I was a teenager, was of my aunt, who is family by marriage, Scorpio reference. I told my mother figure, Aries reference, that I had a dream in the hallway of her home and looked into her bedroom in the dream, and I saw her laying in a coffin and died. Relevant to possibly what's been going on in the past week. I told my mother figure about it. I do not believe that she ever told this woman about the dream. This is a woman that my whole family has been trying to get me to not like or be against, and it was confirmed last week that from a prophetic church that she is in fact a witch and wanting to harm or kill my family members. It's never made sense to me, because although I understand how family matters can be intertwined sometimes, they always act very nice to her. I can never understand how people who worship God and believe in God can be afraid of someone who potentially doesn't. That's why I always believe it's best to pray to God, talk to God, and figure things out for yourself instead of following somebody else and what they gotta say. You just gotta let God work it out sometimes. We're very sheltered, but there are significant things I do remember about the experience of how I realized music is predominantly favored when it comes to adolescence. There was two experiences that I had with my parental figure, father, Gemini placement. It was a confirmation of something. I just knew it even then. But one day, I came home. At the time, I was sharing a room with my younger sibling of Aquarius placement, and we came home to a whole bunch of new toys. They were all very unique and different. And my father figure stood in the room, asked us to pick only one toy. I can't tell you what my other sibling picked. I was playing around with 2 to 3 toys, but I made my decision on one in particular because it was so vintage. It was a record player in a box, kind of something like a ballerina box where you open it up and the ballerinas dance, but it was like a box and you open it up and it's a record player. And we had vinyl records, and I just wanted to know how it worked, and I was interested on that time frame of music because everybody at that time was using CDs. I picked my toy. I was so happy. Maybe 1 or 2 days I was, playing around with them, and then something unique happened. I came home one day after being so happy about this new toy. And not only was that toy taken, but every single toy in the house. My father figured Gemini placement threw all those toys in a garbage bag and took it out to the trash. And I never understood why until I got older. The first two dreams are self-explanatory. There are a handful of people to understand the dream about my aunt. But knowing that I was always destined to do music, and music being a Pisces placement, overall just shows I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.